Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I'm back up and joined once again by Jake, Austin, and like always, Fluff.
What's going on, y'all?
What's up?
What's up, beautiful people?
And before we get into today's matchup, just want to give Austin a moment to kind of go over this really cool thing he's doing. Austin?
Hi, yeah, so on December 11th, I'm joining a big collaboration of streamers that Jacksepticeye started called Thankmas, and I will be helping raise money for New Story, which is a company charity that helps build homes for families that are in dire need of homes. So just stop by at twitch.tv/Kathanis, that'sKthanis, on December 11th. Come by. I'll be doing a massive Pokemon Nuzlocke stream with a randomizer, and I really hope you all can come and donate some money to a good cause.
Oh, dude, I love Nuzlocke.
Same. It's so fun, especially the randomizer.
So definitely check it out. Austin's one of our locals, so it helps out for a good cause.
I'm the cooler guy.
Today's matchup is me versus Fluff. Fluff is taking his hand at a set 15 Kale, while I'm playing a set 15 Son Gohan. Let's take it away. You want to go over Kale?
Yeah, I'll go over in the basest of ways. So basically, the deck uses the Cauliflas to bottom themselves under the leader, and then at the end of your turn, you get to charge one of them under your leader into your energy and rest mode. So it is like a ramp leader, but the ramp also locks you, or the charging effect under the leader locks you to using only Universe 6. So this is a lot of the Universe 6 package that was released in set 15, kind of just testing and going along with this stuff.
So kind of like a mid to long game, right?
It's very, very mid-late range. It takes a little bit to it's like the little engine that could maybe with a little bit of extra fiber in his diet type of thing, a little bit of poot.
So before I get into the Son Gohan deck, there are a ton of autos that can happen at one time with this deck, and I missed one right there. The comboing off the Icarus card allows you to pop your field card, or when you play it, and draw one card, if correct. And I had the 4-drop Ape Gohan in hand. I just forgot to play it. So
I think it costs the energy to play, doesn't it?
It does, but the flipping the leader over restands in energy.
Oh, yeah, so you would have had one.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what playing Gohan is like, but playing against Gohan is like taking a bunch of downers. Because every time something happens, I just feel my pupils dilate as Bancroft goes through 30 autos that trigger and effects and little things, and it's why did I even swing? I just wanted to draw a card. I don't want to sit and watch you do these autos.
So, Gohan, in my experience, at least going the set 15 route, I feel like it's a very defensive deck that utilizes the field cards that either pop themselves or you have cards that pop them for you to either play the 4-drop Ape Gohan. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, you have access to the counterplay Gokus, which will pretty much be 1 energy once you've seen 2 field cards. And yeah, so it's the idea of just kind of, in my opinion, stalling out until you're able to amass a board and just go heavy into your opponent. Now, typically, I do only play the Turtles as a one-of. The Turtles is Powerball. But it has the ability to, at the end of your turn, give your opponent a Ape card, energy cost 4 if it skills negate it for turn, to draw 2 cards. Now, that is at the end of your turn. And you can technically steal that card if you keep the field card on board for 1 energy. It's a good way. It's a good way of countering it with the Bardock the Eliminator, because you have to choose a skill list on your opponent's side of the board. So it kind of gives them a skill list for you to potentially choose, and if they choose to pop it on their field, then your card just goes in the drop. But it's, it has
goes
a
to your
purpose.
drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speak with all the control swapping elements in the deck. Have you considered the Mekikabura Unison from set 10, the 4-drop? Or set 9, I think it was, maybe?
No, Mekikabura was set 10.
I haven't thought about it. So when I first built this deck, I did play the Unison 4 of because I was trying to go in the idea of what set 15 and just kind of showcasing what it is straight from the you opening the case or box or whatever. I don't like that Unison as well, though, as much. So I actually brought it down to a 2 of. And you see I've already charged one of them. The Unison isn't bad for defensive plays. The problem was that having 4 of the Goku counterplays eliminates the reason for me to have a Unison, because you have a Unison to do, okay, cool, the Vegeta counterplay.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I'm tapping 1 energy to draw a card, to play a blocker, and tap a card.
Yeah, and you kind of want to force your opponent into the battle step anyway, and like giving them a Unison to swing at, like kind of goes against what your deck's trying to do to begin with.
For sure, because the 1-drop Gohan Icarus on board right now, it activate battle, you tap it to pop up a field card, which then procs the leader's stuff, procs potentially other cards, but then it gives for the rest of the battle a mono yellow Saiyan plus 1000. So I think at one point I have to use that effect to give me a 1k boost, you know? And when we get that point, we'll kind of showcase it and go over it then.
Here, I just want to touch base on this Unison real quick. This Unison puts in so much unbelievable work in the Kale deck. So it's +1. I couldn't even tell you. I think it gets like 5,000 for the turn and then bounces a 2 or less back to the hand on your opponent's side of the field. But the -3, you put the Unison under your leader and then search your deck for a Kefla with a battle power of 30,000 or less and play it. Which is just a huge tempo swing for you, which is really why the deck is considered to be more mid-late range.
I love the Svatos.
Unfortunately, it only gets the reduction during opponent's turn.
Correct.
And I noticed that after I tapped the 2 energy for it and threw it down.
And to save confusion, the field card I had on board, I can't remember off the top of my head which one it's called, which one the Icarus on board, has a auto for 2 energy. When this card is placed in your drop area, you pay 2 energy to play a monster card of energy cost 2 or less from your hand. That 1-drop is technically considered a monster card, so I was able to play for 2 energy instead of the normal 1 energy. But it allowed me to search for another field card to continue my future turns. And I don't have to waste any energy on my turn to pay for it now.
Nice.
And here I just counterplayed whatever the card he was about to play. So, and do you have any deflect options?
No.
Okay.
There are no deflect options.
So that was kind of one of my things, like, he could, because especially I think, like, in a later turn, we'll go over it then, but you kind of psyched me out for a moment. I wasn't expecting what you were doing.
The problem is so you run 4 of these Keflas to get their draw 2 tap ability, and then theoretically that's supposed to give you dual attack plus your double strike, but it came in rest mode, so I did it just to get the quality of cards in my hand up a little bit. So we got rid of the 1 Kefla in hand, and I think I'm dry on Keflas in the rest of the deck. The rest of them are in my life. So I believe anyway, if I'm not mistaken.
That is unfortunate.
That has happened more than once where I go to activate that effect and they're all in my life. Or I'll have 2 in hand and then there's 2 in life and there's none in deck. But I run 2 Kefla targets in deck. So if I can't grab this one, there is another one that I can grab that is a lot of advantage itself.
Well, that's good. Then you're not going to run completely dry on targets, theoretically.
Yeah. And I run the blue super combos so I can always bottom deck a Kefla to draw 2 cards and then
nice.
Load them back up. Yeah.
So this leader's permit is pretty nice, and I remember like it threw fluff off for a moment. I swung at your battle card. I comboed off one of the Goku Icaruses to just make sure the hit went through. Killed the battle card, restood the card, and you're like, what causes that? Because I hadn't done that at all. Game reset my leader. And it's just a permanent allows it when it KOs a battle card, it can restand. And its auto on swing, which taps a card and gains a 5,000 bonus, doesn't go away. So actually, it's not permanent.
It literally feels like playing against this deck that the leader does like 30 different things. Because it's like on every attack, something happens.
And I want to say it's not a permanent target, it's an auto once per turn.
Yeah.
That's good. So you're not going to swing at a whole board of battle cards and just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's Jackie Chun's role.
You being able to tap my blockers really hurt, but I don't mind. I didn't mind at the time because I needed to get down to 4 life because I had like 2 super combos in my hand. And this is the instance I was talking about where I did tap the Goku Gohan Icarus to give the leader an additional 1k boost for me to 31,000, just enough to combo out.
Yeah. And here I'm trying to figure out what to do. Like, there's a lot that you can do with this deck once you get to 7 energy. 7 energy is really where you want to end up at. You don't really generally need to go up to 8 or 9 energy. So you can pretty much get to 7 and then just leave it. And this is about where you need to be to do explosive stuff. So, an 3 energy gives you a unison swing, and then you'll resolve the -3, and we'll get to play you another Kefla from deck. Here I was asking Bancroft a question about the archetype because I wasn't as familiar with it, which I didn't think there was a way that he could rip markers off, but I didn't want to risk it if there was a possibility of it.
Yeah.
And again, Kefla comes in rest mode. And her activate main, if you've never played this card before, is she draws 2, and then at the start of your opponent's next main phase, she restands 2 energy. And that's an activate main once per turn.
It's really good.
And then this Kefla is like a pseudo Union Fusion, or Union Patara from the drop period that lets you discard 2 and bottom 1, which is another way to put a Kefla back in the deck if you need to.
Draw 2 and then bottom 1.
Yeah, that's what I said. Draw 2, bottom 1.
You said discard.
Oh, well. And it gives you just a free 15 body on the field. And the really annoying part about this is all of the blockers that you have amassed on the field.
Yeah, and those blockers are tapping something when they come in, just slowing your game way down.
I will say, I'm not sure. You did say you weren't too familiar with the archetype, but you were playing against it correctly, where you have one battle card, you swing. Okay, you play that battle card, you swing. You're not amassing a board for me to tap down with other effects.
Yeah, that's yellow. I mean, we always talk about breaking yellow's puzzle. That's part of it. If you're not playing against Topo Lock, that's how you break the puzzle, is you give them as few targets that are applicable as possible to resolve their effects.
And I went ahead and played the Kai, which it's a secret rare that I do enjoy playing this deck. It's just kind of like an extra little push to clear my opponent's board of battle cards and unison, so that way when I want to go wide, I can. But I am on the edge of potentially switching it out, and I'll go over that later.
Yeah, as soon as that Kai hit the field, that was kind of like hit the brakes. You don't need to keep going on this turn. Just end. You're going to lose your entire field. Just lose the entire field.
And I don't know what route why I took that route. I did have other options for your cards in rest mode, but I felt like Kai was just a good way to get you to just stop applying pressure, so I could have something to swing at you next turn, because I didn't want to use my 4K blocker. The 19K 8 blocker I have on the board currently.
Yeah, it's just an efficient way to deal with a giant board of battle cards at any rate. And it's going to warp that fused U6 lady
Yeah.
and keep him from reloading it to his
Well,
deck.
the cards underneath it went to the drop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I lost a ton of pressure there. And then here I just used Kaba
Yeah.
to get rid of the ape again. Because I had the open energy to do it, so why not? And then I just immediately lost the Kaba to Turles all too easy.
It's
Which
pretty
is just
solid.
Yeah, super solid. Is he limited to yellow sands?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah, it might be Yellow Sands. So here, 30k double strike. You do end up using 2 super combos. Just get out of it. And I think that would be my turn. Yeah.
I think I did end up going back up to 8 energy here.
And so, truth be told, I think I had a different field card in my hand. But I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to maximize the ape swing. But you did, like I said earlier, you popped it with Kaba, which really hurt. And now I'm with a field card that I don't really need right now. I still have the ability to get rid of it, though, with the Gohan and Icarus.
Yep. So here I have to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do. So I just decided to blow up your field.
Yeah.
I don't get rid of your field card, but I do get to blow up your battle area.
Pretty good.
And
yeah.
There goes my way of popping this field card. So I'm forced to use this Pickle, which isn't a bad card to use. It gives you a blocker on board. It gets rid of the field card so I can flip the leader over, restanding energy, and kind of continue to maximize this turn by playing the ape. But I didn't want to do that.
See what I'm saying about I opened a battle window and Bancroft resolved like 5 effects.
Yeah. Those unisons are looking worse and worse all the time.
Yeah.
So I meant to look for it, and I don't know where it went, because I didn't see me putting it in my drop. The Force Fire card I had earlier, I remember going, I thought I had one in my drop, because I popped it earlier. I do not know where it's at currently for some reason, because it's not in my drop.
And you haven't been in your deck searching for anything outside of your monster cards.
So I'm forced to play this, which isn't a bad play. I do have the ape on board, but you've proven that you have ways of dealing with those cards, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, at this point, my deck is getting pretty shallow. One of the upsides to this deck is once it gets going and starts really going, you burn through your deck pretty fast. It's just surviving to the point that you can get going like that. So my deck is getting pretty shallow. So for you to assume that I'm going to have ways to just rip that card off the field it's a pretty safe bet.
And I did think about swinging at your battle card, but you did negate with my later swing, so it didn't really matter.
And this unison is yet again another blocker, so I have to deal with all of your blockers before I can get to your leader. And that's the real struggle that I'm facing off against with this deck. And it's really what this deck is supposed to do. It's supposed to just kind of grind your opponent out, create tiny little windows, and kill like death by 1,000 cuts, as opposed to putting out a big double striker or a big triple striker. And so it's just hard for me to get into your life when I'm focusing on using big double strikers to get in. So it's kind of frustrating when you're looking at a unison blocker and then 2 other blockers on the field.
And I will say, late game, this unison isn't as great because it the +1 effect, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost greater than or equal to their current energy, and it cannot attack until I think the end of your next turn. The problem is that
he's got a lot of energy.
Even if he wasn't a ramp deck, this was turn 6 that I played that card on, and it's a 5 cost battle card. Like, it wouldn't have mattered, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's not a lot that it's going to hit at this stage in the game.
Here, I'm just thinking if I'm going to have to go into battle against a blocker, I might as well just try to kill it.
So activate Forbidden Power on the second swing. And the reason why I didn't do it in the first swing was because, like, I didn't know what to expect out of this turn. You went really big the turn before him, but then once you start playing a second card and you still had, like, a ton of energy open, I'm like, no, I can't afford to do that. I'll have to expend it now, unfortunately.
Yep.
And I think in hindsight, I probably should have to maximize this turn, done it on your first swing instead.
But pretty much everything that I'm doing, you have a response to. And I know at some point those responses are going to run out.
Yeah.
And that's my only hope, is that I can out-action your number of responses over the next turn or so.
And we're, like, turn 6. I'm going to turn 7 right now. I do play the card in my deck, but yet we have not seen it pop up one time. And that's the Power of a Super Saiyan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird how, like, you're maximizing your turns, which is great, but on a swing like what's about to happen now, you choose not to block with the Unison, you know? If I had the Power of Super Saiyan, I could tap your Unison if I'm correct, just to get the little edge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that didn't even cross my mind.
Oh yeah, that card is so versatile. You can use it to tap your opponent's active mode battle cards to keep them from comboing with them and everything.
Yeah. So I swing.
It's funny seeing you swing with that Goku. I thought it was a bait swing.
No, it wasn't 100% in terms of going for the bait swing. I looked at your drop area and I'm like, oh, cool, 3 super combos. I'm safe to pull this off. So I just Final Flash, Double Strike, yeah. And you turn around and pay 2 energy, or 3 energy for Kaba. And I'm like, I forgot about that. You know what? Good game. Like, I had 2 cards in my hand left, which was another Turtles, which I comboed one off, and Planet Vegeta. And I didn't want to pay the Turtles. You bounce it back to my hand and have to spend 2 more energy to pay another Turtles. When I was like, oh, he said no negate. Huh.
Yeah.
Time to go in. I'm going for it.
I was kind of baiting that all in just to see what you would do, as opposed to negating it.
Yeah. No.
Just to see what would happen.
No, Kaba's a very new card, so my thing about that though is just remember it exists. It gets past everything. So unless it says it can't be removed by your opponent's skills. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Keep in mind those buttons down below while Fluff does the outro.
Yeah, Kale is like a brick house, but it takes it decades to get there in terms of games. Like, I played it at locals this weekend, and it did pretty well. But most games went up to like that turn 4, turn 5 range before I actually started playing the game with the opponent. As always, read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and Fluff out.